Hey guys, Political Junkie 2414 here, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be giving my overall analysis as to, for the first Republican primary, Republican presidential primary debate of the 2024 election cycle. So last night, August 23rd, we had there was a debate from 9 to 11 where, basically, eight different candidates running for president got up on, came to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and, debated. But who was notably absent from that stage was the front runner, former President Donald Trump, who, of course, has been indicted four times now and has, countless legal, issues, that are, plaguing his candidacy for a general election, but the indictments seem to have helped him in the primary. However, Trump decided not to debate, which left us with just eight other candidates who were able to qualify. So, yeah, that is, basically the setup, but I'm going to be talking about who I personally believe did the best in the debate, who did the worst, and who was just kind of okay. So if you like videos like this and you like what you see, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share the video with someone who you think would enjoy it. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. We're going to go from alphabetical order. I basically, I do believe that this was assembled by Ethan Kelly, who is the, who's the guy who runs the Let's Talk Elections channel. So I wanted to just give a quick shout out to him. I did, kind of change some of the, um, titles or section titles. But yeah, we have the winners, which would be the best candidates up here, the ones who did the best, the ones who did pretty well, pretty good, but not phenomenal. Then we have decent, which is kind of fine, but pretty good, but not too great. Not super good. Then you have meh, which speaks for itself, and then not very good is, of course, the worst category. So, yeah, let's just go into it from alphabetical order. We're going to start with Doug Burgum, who I think did fine. I wasn't too impressed by his debate. One thing I will say before we get any further is that I think that there was, you know, the perception of who I think did well was a little clouded by how much time everyone got. Doug Burgum did not get a lot of time, but what time he did have, it was fine. He did okay. I don't think he, did phenomenal. I'm kind of contemplating putting him in not very good. I think I'm gonna put him in not very good actually. And yeah, I just changed my mind right there. I think, no one here did 100% well or 100% bad. I think Bergam was fine. I understand he suffered an injury, on Tuesday night, which caused, may have caused some problems for him, with debate prep and everything. So, uh, not going to be too hard on him, but overall, I just don't think he really stood out to me as someone who was great. The fact that he got on the debate stage in the first place was pretty good. But I think he didn't do particularly well. There weren't a lot of standout moments. I do remember him saying that he opposed a federal, or a nationwide abortion ban, and I am trying to be unbiased here. Of course, I am. More liberal than I am conservative, but I'm trying to look at this from a Republican primary perspective, but also from like an electability perspective. I think Burgum, you know, I think most candidates here did a pretty good job with, with balancing the pro-life and, but not too pro-life, message. We'll talk about that more when we get to other candidates. But yeah, I think Bergen, that was his one standout moment. Besides that, not too much to say. Chris Christie, he kind of underperformed what I was expecting. He had some, good moments, I think, when he went after Vivek Ramaswamy. He was, that was when he really shined and when when he basically, um, you know, s- called out other people for, saying, for just kind of agreeing that Mike Pence did the right thing. Christie made a point of saying we should actually celebrate, we should actually be, really appreciative that he stood up for, that he, fulfilled his oath to the Constitution, and he kind of took charge in that stage. But besides that, I was really underwhelmed by his performance. I don't think he felt very, I don't think he was very comfortable on the stage. He got a decent amount of time. I don't think he did terribly, but he definitely did not do as well as I was expecting. I was thinking he would be, one of the winners of this debate. I was expecting him to really go after Donald Trump. He's been very critical of him. So I was a little underwhelmed by his performance. Ron DeSantis, I'm not surprised that he didn't do very well. He had one standout moment, and that was when, um, what was he being asked about? He was being asked about climate change, and, the mediators asked, the mediators asked every Republican candidate to like raise their hand if they think climate change is real, and DeSantis was kind of like, well, let's debate it. We're not school children, and while obviously. I mean, climate change, I think most of us can agree is real. I think that, taking charge like that and kind of being like, hey, let's, be adult about this. Let's debate it. That was a pretty good, moment where he took charge. But besides that, he didn't really look too comfortable. He kind of looked more, angry and kind of resentful than he was charismatic, which, I think is kind of something we figured out by now with Ron DeSantis's campaign. He is not very charismatic, but that is where I stand on the governor of Florida. Not, I'd never really expected him to do very well. I think he really kind of fumbled the bag. Nikki Haley, though, really, really really stole the show, in my opinion. I think she really took charge, hit the ground running. I think when she was kind of more realistic than a lot of the other candidates. She took the opportunity when Christie and Ramaswamy were fighting to basically point out, look at all this, nonsense with them fighting, and she kind of made the point that, hey, a man, you want something said, get a man, you want something done, talk to a woman, something along those lines. And I thought that that was a really, really impressive moment. I think, with her being the only woman on this debate stage and, basically in the primary at all, I think that, she really did, a good job in kind of, being, kind of pointing out, like, look at the ridiculousness of, you know, what these guys are doing, you need to pick me. And I think that she was also realistic, you know, about from the pro-life perspective. Personally, obviously, I don't agree with with most of what she stands for, and I want to be clear about that. But what I do think is that from a Republican perspective, she was being pretty realistic. She was saying, I'm pro-life, but let's not demonize people for, and demonize women, or women for, having an abortion. And let's also be realistic. We're not going to be able to pass a nationwide abortion ban. Let's be true with the American people. And I found that as something that was really, really interesting. I think I kind of forgot that Haley was kind of like really, really was, a really talented speaker. I think in the last couple of months I was really underwhelmed by her campaign, but I honestly think that she really knocked it out of the park, and I think that she could honestly really rise. And obviously, I don't think any of these candidates are going to beat Trump. I think that's, as long as there's too many of them in the race, I think that's going to be impossible. But I could definitely see Haley rising above uh, Pence, or, potentially Ramaswamy. I think right now, uh, she's probably in second place in or third place in South Carolina, maybe second place. Maybe DeSantis falters there. Um, Asa Hutchinson, he was fine. He didn't get a lot of time. I honestly think, you know, he didn't. I think the lighting, honestly, I hate to say it, he did not look well in the lighting. He, kind of looked a little um tired, which, I mean, I'm not here to say that, you know, getting ready for a debate is easy, but I think that what he did say was all right. I think that, when he was asked about the abortion question, he kind of pointed out, how pro-life of the governor he was, and I think that he was, and I think he did a good job, focusing on what he did as Arkansas governor. But besides that, not a lot of, standout moments from him. Mike Pence, I'm kind of debating putting him between impressive and decent. I definitely think he did a little bit better than expected. I'm going to put him in impressive. He was pretty good. I think he, like Nikki Haley, was pretty presidential. I think that they were really the only two who really stood out to me as presidential material or someone that you could really see acting like a president. Pence was really going at it with Vivek Ramaswamy. I think he did a good job, like Haley, of answering the questions. And also, one thing about DeSantis, I think he kind of was really dodging the questions. Everyone else was kind of doing their best to answer it, but DeSantis, like in particular, was really trying to get around the questions, especially on abortion. And I think that, it was kind of noticeable. Anyways, getting back to Pence, I think, he did a good job of getting people to, he had his standout moment for me was when he was basically like, look, when he put people on the spot and said, look, I want everyone here to, say whether or not they agreed that I fulfilled, my oath to the Constitution, on January 6th. And I think that that was a really, really powerful moment. He was pretty harsh on Trump in the section that he got to it. Of course, they didn't talk about it a lot, and the audience was not too happy about it. But I think that for what it's worth, Mike Pence did pretty well at defending himself. I think that he had a good, closing argument. I think he really appeals to the evangelical base. So Pence, he did pretty well. I think yeah, I don't think he did, quite win. He wasn't quite a winner, but he was pretty damn close. Vivek Ramaswamy is the second winner. I think that he really embodies Trump. I'm going to be quite frank with you. I think he's going to be the running mate for Trump. For a while, I thought it would be Tim Scott, but Ramaswamy really has that kind of Trump vibe where he's kind of charismatic and also, he's a businessman. He's very harsh. He's very blunt, and he's not willing. He was probably the most conservative guy on that stage. He got the most time. I think Haley, really, everyone was going after Ramaswamy. I think they really all saw him as a threat, which in one way, with him being attacked all the time is kind of a detriment, but it's also kind of like, if you think about it, it's kind of, a blessing too, because it's like, wow, all these other candidates fear me. I am, a serious threat. And, to be fair, Ramaswamy's been doing pretty well in the polling data. I think a lot of people have picked him as, as their second choice over Trump. Um, but yeah, I mean, Pence, Christie, uh, Haley, DeSantis. Actually, did DeSantis go after? I can't remember. I don't have a perfect memory of the debate, but I know the other three of them really, really were hammering in on Ramaswamy, and you know, I think that he really stood out to me as the most likely candidate to get Trump's VP pick. For a while, I thought it could be Haley or Scott, but after Haley was really pointing out how unelectable Donald Trump was, and I think that that really kind of sealed the deal for, that kind of was the final nail of the coffin for her. And, finally we'll go to Tim Scott. Tim Scott, I was really expecting to kind of be all right. He really looked uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I think he did not do well in the debate. And let me be clear, just because you don't do well in a debate doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to do well in the election. We saw that with Dr. Oz, when he was, did a pretty good job against John Fetterman. Again, I think, Fetterman did all right in that debate. I think people kind of underscore Fetterman's performance there, but I mean, he obviously didn't win that. Um, and you look at Tim Ryan, doing pretty well against JD Vance in that Ohio debate last year. So, what I'll say is Scott has had an impressive performance, but he looked really uncomfortable. I think he did a good job of kind of appealing, like Mike Pence, to, the evangelicals and, really putting, really, kind of focusing on religion and the culture war. He did a better job than DeSantis did with it. Um, but I really think that he just kind of faltered. He did not look very comfortable. on the stage. She kind of had an awkward look. I don't know if all of you caught this. For I couldn't believe it when I heard this, but I just saw the political chatter posted when the debate or when the mediators were asking people, "Hey, are you bought and paid for?" Scott said, "Absolutely," and then he corrected himself to "Absolutely not." That and I thought I misheard something, but apparently I was not the only one who heard it. So yeah, Tim Scott did not do very well. I think that he's a fine speaker, but I think that he really underperformed in this debate. Again, this is not an end all be all, but this is the first debate. People can come back from it. Maybe Scott has a better performance next time. But yeah, and then Donald Trump is our final candidate who didn't attend the debate, so I am not going to give him a rating. Overall, what I'll say is I think Trump should have, you know, come up to this debate. Quite frankly, there were a couple times when I kind of forgot that Trump was even a candidate when I was watching this debate, because he was just such a non-focus, but yet his presence was really looming over it, even though they only talked about, his indictments for, so long. But I think, there's a good chance Trump, shows up to the second debate. I think there's a good chance he, just kind of keeps going with this boycott. But overall, in my opinion, I think Nikki Haley and Vivek Ramaswamy were the ones who really stood out. They were really the best speakers. I think Haley in particular did a lot better than I originally expected. I think that she really, kind of, my view of her as a candidate in a general election has kind of been boosted a little bit. I don't know if she would beat Joe Biden, but I think that she's, in terms of the GOP debate, was definitely, one of the shining stars. Vivek Ramaswamy, I think, really a good vice presidential pick for Trump. Or really the most likely one, should I say? But I think he really embodies Trump's performance. I don't think that he would be super divisive to the party. So I think that that is really, and his kind of Trump-like charisma is very beneficial to getting the base out. So I think that, I'm pretty confident he will be the running mate. Mike Pence did a pretty good job, January, with putting people on the spot and making them address his him fulfilling his oath to the Constitution. He did a good job at kind of you know talking about Donald Trump. Kind of he was kind of softer on him than he had been in a certain campaign appearances, but I think he did an all right job. Chris Christie really didn't, really underperformed where I stood, where I expected him to be. I really expected him to be up with Haley and where Haley and Ramaswamy were, but he didn't do terribly. I think he had his moments. Went after Ramaswamy pretty aggressively, and kind of Marco Rubio kind of did what he, did to Ramaswamy what he did to Marco Rubio in 2016. I just don't think he really had that dog in him. He did not look as enthusiastic as I was expecting him to. Asa Hutchinson didn't get enough time. I think that he, for what it's worth, did pretty well, but just didn't really leave a very strong impression in my eyes. Doug Burgum, of course, he had those health issues, but what he did say I think was fine. Again, none of these people, in the not very good column did particularly bad, but just, Burgum was probably the best of the three. But I think he just kind of didn't do too well. I think he just kind of came off as you know, very below average. Ron DeSantis, of course, dodging the questions, not really, looking too comfortable on the debate stage, looking very kind of agitated by the questions that he was asked. And then Tim Scott just kind of, again, looked uncomfortable, but, gave better answers than DeSantis. So tell me who you guys think did the best in the debate. Do you think my ratings are fair? Do you disagree? Again, this is my own personal opinion, but I'd love to hear yours. So, if you haven't liked the video already, if you like the video, please, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share the video with someone who you think would enjoy it, and, yeah, check out more from my channel. I'm gonna try to be putting out a couple more videos here in this last week. But yeah, I hope you guys check out my non-political channel, Interactor127, and my comrades channel, Growlings666. Thank you all so much for watching. I plan to make another debate, tier list, for, next time. And I am planning, I think, to make an updated U.S. Senator tier list, in the next couple of days. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see y'all next time when I talk about all things politics. See ya.